Hello, Facebook Live and the Extraordinary Business Network. I'm Dan Rochon, and today I'm really happy to be joined with Mr. Tim O'Keefe from Spider Juice Technologies. Tim, hello.
Wow, we're on the interwebs all over the world live. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I've been looking forward to this interview or for this conversation for a little while. So Tim, I know that I don't know, you and I got connected. We got connected from the interweb, sort of. I saw your company, and I've been on your email list for probably several years, and I think you've been on my email list for a second or so, and so somehow or another we got connected. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Tim. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, the funny way that we actually started talking was through a weird technical thing or other, and I emailed you, and you're like, "What?" And remember that? And then we started. That's how we started talking.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
I went to your site, and we started connecting and had fun that way. But so what do I do? I started my business many moons ago. I used to be a realtor, believe it or not.
I didn't
And
know that.
yeah, out of college, that was my thing. My parents were mortgage brokers, developers, and I, just wanted to fall into the family thing and became a realtor. And lasted. We had a recession out here. I think it was '93 in LA or something like that. That was the whole country got it, but we got it a little worse because all the aerospace in LA left, and which was what built this area up, the South Bay. And so it hit hard. And then meanwhile, I went through a divorce. So I figured I'd reboot and tried a bunch of different things. And by about 96, 97, there was this thing called the internet. And oh, this is kind of cool. And so at the time, I was a recruiter, which honestly, it's like real estate but better. I thought, because I'm like, wow, it's I get these job listings from companies, and it's like having a listing, and it's he who has the most listings controls the market. And so I was kind of programmed that way, and I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed the internet more. I got a side gig. My friend was the guy who inspired me. He got a gig with this company called eChamps that did sports sites. Eric Dickerson was in there, old guys that we've all heard of. And so I was kind of impressed, being an ex-football player, and I was a little jealous and intrigued. I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. And and the cool thing is my buddy was an old sales guy like me. He's from the sales world, so it isn't like I'm a natural born geek. It was an acquired taste, and so he took a sales job, managing job that he couldn't refuse. Recommended me because I had been hacking around with our companies that I worked for, their websites, and I got the job, and I was a webmaster for whatever that meant at that time for this company that was like a B. You heard of B actors. Well, this was like a B sports site, and so I helped them with their e-commerce, their SEO, and their coding and all that stuff. And it was kind of like a baptism by fire. It was
All
not.
right. So that seems like a journey to where you are today, and from sales to geeky web stuff. And so how do you apply that? What's your business specifically today, and how do you help people?
So at the time, I was known as the SEO guy, right? And the internet
Yeah.
kind of morphed. It kept growing into other things, and along comes blogs. So at one time, I had probably the busiest real estate marketing blog there was. Then along comes social media, and social media is wow, right? I mean, there's a million different things that we can call social media. So much so that it's blinded. It's blind. Google is social media. Facebook is SEO, right? So a lot of people don't think of it that way, but it really is, and that kind of gets into that whole 4D, or the sort of an esoteric model that I've developed to try to put our arms around this. First of all, it was for me to put my arms around it. I mean, back in it's probably 10 years now, when we all got into Facebook and Twitter, but people in the real estate community were, they're getting all excited about Foursquare. And I'm like, why? And I'm like, oh, what are you getting so jacked up about that for? And these other weird sites, and I just didn't get it. And it wasn't, none of it really fit together. And so I've attempted to first see, hey, if there's money over there, I want to be first in line, but I can't see it. Yeah, there is money. Get on Twitter. I've made money from Twitter. I've made money from hanging out on Facebook, but there's bigger dollars, in my view, on the old foundations of SEO. And then so I've attempted to marry all of the different goodies and toys that we can use to build our business. But it all comes back to SEO. Really, what it comes back to is content. This is what you're doing right now. That's you can leverage this, right, for SEO. You can leverage, as an example, the other day you asked me a question on this channel, and I did a video for you and wrote out basically an article. Well, I put that out on my own Facebook. I put it out on YouTube. I put it out on, I think, my Google My Business. I put it out on, I think, on my website also, and maybe some other places. And so that's 4D. That's using something and attributing it a million different ways, repurposing it. And that's what I do for my clients.
So you help business owners to be able to promote themselves in today's world of technology, of social media, SEO, and understanding how to put all those pieces together to be able to add value to the consumer and to attract more consumers to them. Is that what you do?
Yeah. So yesterday I have a conversation, and this guy's like, well, I somebody talked them into working Pinterest. I can get leads from Pinterest. Okay. Yeah, maybe, but it's at a cost, right? And so yeah. Are you going to do it through advertising? Are you going to do it through, posting recipes or whatever? There's a way to do it so it helps you, so that you're doing Pinterest amongst the many others, but you're doing social media, but you're also doing the most important thing, which is serving the god of the internet, Google. And as soon as that god changes, I'm first in line, but it hasn't changed, and it probably is not going to change anytime soon. So I help my clients leverage what's out there. And then everything we do has multiple purposes, right? So if I'm posting into a Google My Business page, I know that that's helping my website page, but it's also helping my Google My Business page, and it may also be helping, a social media page or whatever. And so we wrap our arms around all this and make sure we know why we're just doing it, and so we're not doing it in a singular fashion. So, you search engine optimization being the key word. And so I'm looking at, okay, what assets do you have? And then let's leverage that, and then, take it as far as your budget will allow, or how far you want it to go. And there's a million ways to Sunday to get there, but it comes back to that word again that I said a minute ago, which is content. And content can be through, just the old fashioned, I'm going to write an article. And the other day, it's weird because it's all hit in the last week since we've been prepping for this show, where all of a sudden my clients are pounding me on content help and creating content. And I've always used the line, hey, use your frequently asked questions. And I know you do this in a different, you call it different, but look, I leverage every time someone asks me a question. That could be an article, that could be a video, that could be whatever out on the net. It could be a PDF. It could, on and on and on and on. It could be repurposed. And in my view, if I share something, and we've had this conversation before, if I share something with somebody that's called in, just it's a lead call, say a prospect, and I share something with them that's gold, I'm being selfish if I'm not sharing it with my people that actually follow me all the time. My loyal followers, they should have a video, they should have an audio, they should have at least an article. I've done a lot of counseling on how to write better. A lot of the guys that have been around this game a long time, they have a hard time getting out of let's con Google game. And that doesn't work anymore. You don't say your keyword real estate 9 times in a sentence. It doesn't read well. And so I'm attempting to get my guys to write with more proficiency and efficiency and learn how to write. And which, is sounds silly, but a lot of us don't know how. And so I'm sharing a lot of stuff. I just put together what turned out to be an article to a client of mine who's really interested in, I was teaching him, and I know this is something I found out through Diedrich that's in your world, is I found out that he had, I used the word hypnotic writing. And he got all, oh, really? Hypnotic writing? And so that triggered him into being more interested. And I said, okay, well, let me explain to you some things. And I wrote out, I explained to him, over the phone. And then he asked me a question. Then he started going down this rabbit hole that was just like, oh my God, don't go that way. You're going to sound worse than you sound when you write. So I wrote out an article that he now just texted me a little bit ago, said, hey, I have a paid writing gig for you if you want to do it, like a copywriting gig, which really I don't go around saying I'm a copywriter.
Sure.
Hey, there's some wonderful copywriters out there that do magic, and I'm not one of them. But I'm a decent writer. And so I think we all need to get comfortable with communicating our words, writing. But a lot of us treat that like it's a report in high school, and we get stuck. And what I love, and what you have confirmed for me, which something that I fell on about 6 months ago or a year ago, which was I pull out my cell phone whenever I get one of them questions, and I get right on and I start talking, and it could become a podcast, or it could become something, but at least it's recorded. I'm doing more and more where I'll pull out the video camera and do it your style. And the fact is the more we do this and get comfortable with it, the better we get, and so this is what we all need to start doing. We all need to get comfortable with this technology. The other day, okay, so why aren't people using the technology? Because of what we went through the other day. It's frustrating sometimes, and
so you're talking, so when Tim's talking about the other day, we had this set up for a Tuesday conversation, and the technology gods just were not going to allow for us to do that.
But it's truly, I mean, look, it's
share with us what you were sharing with me at the beginning before we got online here about Diedrich being in. And literally, like right now, Diedrich's right here in my ear. He's in the Philippines. You're in California. I'm in Alexandria, Virginia. And we're able to have this conversation with each other and with anybody in the world right now. And, so that's an opportunity that did not exist when I was, a 10-year-old kid.
No. Even 5 years ago, we would have probably not wanted to go through but the wranglings to get this done. But at this point, hey, you have, I mean, this thing right here is a miracle. It's on a little tiny phone. We're able to communicate and talk and text and record ourselves and then push it up to Facebook or to Twitter or to YouTube. And why not? You know, I had a client the other day. She was at a title company party at a casino, and I said, "Hey, Nancy, you took some selfies, right?" No. I'm like, you got to do that. It's an opportunity. I know it sounds like we're being children, but you know, I mean, look, they are the children, the ones that are the influencers, so to speak. We're the influencers. We've been around the block. We know influence. Okay. They're just getting on and looking pretty and doing makeup or whatever on these YouTube channels and calling themselves influencers. We're the influencers. We move commerce. We move business. And so take advantage of what's out there. The kids that are doing this are doing it because they have no fear of the camera, and they just get in front of it. So get in front of it, do it, and you're creating content that tomorrow will be better than today.
So Tim, let me interrupt real quick. Let me interrupt if I may. So I want to just summarize what I heard to make sure and that I got the really great things that you just shared. So what I heard you say was to do content, you know, audio, keep your phone with you. If you know, got my phone right here. If I see, you know, something's cool, just do a quick video, do an audio, whatever the case may be. Get that onto the internet, and then you can cross promote that onto Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, whatever, LinkedIn, and then you could utilize that content to create blog posts, which would, you know, that in of itself is going to feed into the SEO, and to be able to utilize the content that somebody else asked you. So if somebody asked you a question like, "Hey Tim, how can I get my page on the first page of Google?" and you answer that question, that could be some great content. Are those like a synopsis of what you're sharing with us? Did I get that accurately?
Yes. It's getting past the fear of creating content. We think it's work. It's look, if you're going to be on this thing called the interwebs, get used to it. It is what it is. It's the game we all decided to get into, and so start creating it. Be better than everybody else at creating it.
So be better than others, and I don't even know if be better. Let me ask you if you agree with this. Be more, right? Yeah. You don't necessarily even have to be better, and better will come with time as well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I thank you for correcting me, because I find. I
wasn't correcting you. I'm just getting clarity.
No, you made me clear, because I used the wrong word. My definition of better is more.
Yeah.
Fail forward fast. And it's quantity, it's not quality. A lot of times realtors get stuck in a world of wanting to create commercial quality productions, and that's cool. But you know, we're on reality TV more than we are on Housewives of Orange County, or I'm trying to think of a proper analogy, but you know, the rich and famous. This is not a commercial production. Right now, what we're doing is live, and
just make it authentic.
Make it authentic is more important than anything. I had a conversation with a really good client of mine about a week ago, and I was talking to him about the concept of emailing more or emailing less. And I come from the mind of, you know, when I'm so inclined, and I don't do it on a schedule. I do it as I'm inspired, which is probably wrong. But I believe in novelty, and people get into patterns, and then they tend to ignore you if they know your pattern. And so anyway, I said, yeah, I like to do it every day sometimes. And he goes, you know, when I get emails every day, I tend to ignore it because I just can't keep up. And my first thing was, well, I appreciate that, you know, you feel obligated to read my stuff. That tells me that it's working. But secondly, I said, that's not the point. If you read it or not, it's that you're being reminded that I'm here. And so when you post a video, I don't have to watch it, but
But you should.
I should, right? I should. But you're here. Hey, there's Dan again. He's rocking and rolling. I'm reminded of you, and that's the point of advertising. You know, I think a lot of us have gotten distracted by the direct response internet marketing gurus that are promoting constantly, which means they're in and out of business, as opposed to marketing constantly, right? And so, and there's a difference, and there's a time for promotion, but again, that's a temporary thing. We're in it for the long haul. So there's a marketing thing, and so being reminded that Dan is putting a video up, or your emails that I get all the time. Again, you're a great example. I saw, oh, he sent an email. I'll get to it when I do my big reading, you know. But right now it's filed over to the side because I have to do that thing called make money. So, but you reminded me you exist. You're in business, and that's the whole point.
Yeah, and one thing I would add to that is my intention with any anything that we share with the world, whether it's email or video, is it comes from one rule, and is this going to add value and contribution? And I understand it's not going to add value and contribution to everybody yet. It's coming from the place of how can I help another person? And certainly you're not going to help 100% of anybody yet. You're going to be able to, like with you, Tim, the contribution that you, when I read your content, is useful to me because you're speaking to what I'm looking for in regards to promoting my business and promoting and helping people. So I appreciate when you're sharing things that it's coming from value and contribution. That doesn't mean that, you know, somebody that's not a business owner would even care to read your email. Yet that doesn't matter because that's not necessarily a prospective person for you to help anyways. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And you made a great point when writing or doing any content. Have a person that you're talking to. So I have this person that looks like you, that is a go-getter who wants to learn and get better on the internet. And so I that's who I'm writing to, instead of writing to an anonymous entity. It makes better writing when I'm writing to a specific
okay, so have clarity on who you're communicating with.
Yeah.
Or I've heard that said, like, have an avatar of who you're communicating with.
Right. Who is your subject, right? The other day I was counseling somebody, and she said, my customer is 40 years old, 45 years old, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And so that's who you're writing to. You're not writing to a 21-year-old. You're writing to a 40, 45-year-old.
Got it. All right, let's finish this up. Couple rapid fire questions. So if you were to share one suggestion of a business owner of what they should absolutely avoid, a mistake, what would that be? What would a business owner want to avoid? And this doesn't have to be, this is just in general, just from your years of experience in business, whatever comes to mind. What would that be?
Avoid the fear of creating content, which is
kind
of what we've been talking about.
And what would be one thing that you would advise for a business owner to do?
Create content. I'll come up with something else. Content.
Seeing a theme here.
Yeah. Create, if you have not claimed, claim it, your Google My Business. Like, as soon as we hang up, go get your Google My Business. Be consistent with your Google My Business. in the real estate industry, it has been slow, and I understand why, for Google to force feed the what we call the 3-pack, which is the local map pack at the top of Google. But if you type in city realtor, it'll probably show up. City realty, it'll probably show up. It's starting to show up for city real estate. Okay.
Okay.
Which concerns me because I don't think people usually are going to real estate sites, but for any other reason than to see houses first and foremost when it's
Sure.
cold off of a Google search. But so we'll see how that ferrets out. But either way, it will help with your website. Fill it out completely. You don't have to do it all at once, but make it your goal to fill it all the way out. And they'll remind you you're 60% through or whatever. And just do it. Get reviews on your Google My Business. So that's my advice.
Get reviews, fill out your Google places. All right. If you could say you're talking to Tim 5, 10 years ago, and you were to give yourself a word of wisdom, a word of advice, what would you share with yourself? Today,
Don't
Tim, talking to last, 5 years ago, Tim.
uh, don't put everything on your shoulder.
Mm,
You're just human. Delegate out stuff that doesn't matter.
got it. Got it. Love it. So delegate. That's awesome, man. I think that's great advice. All right, Tim, if I'm a business owner and I'm interested in, having more visibility, specifically on the interwebs, how can I get in touch with you?
Call me at 310-533-9145 or spiderjuicetechnologies.com and check it out. I love chatting. I'm very personable to a fault. So I'll probably give you some tips on how to get successful on the web in our conversation initially.
Fantastic. Can you give that number one more time, a little bit slower?
I'm a great promoter, right? 310-533-9145. Now in Spanish. No, I'm kidding.
All right, Tim. Thank you, my man. I really appreciate you. You've been a great guest, and I look forward to mutually seeing each other to succeed, and I look forward to your success.
Me too, and I love your stuff. Keep it up.
All right, thanks, Tim.
Be well.